So, Trent, what have you been eating recently?
I had a Taco Bell problem a few months ago, but then I overdid it, and so I've been avoiding it for a few months. And today I relapsed, but in a light way. It was delicious, and I haven't had it in a calendar month, so it was a nice reintroduction to something I know and love. The black bean Crunchwrap Supreme. It's the move. Parth, haven't you never been to Taco Bell?
I think I've been there before, but I don't really very early on in my career as Parth Marathe.
When did your career as Parth Marathe start compared to your birth? Because that's how most people measure the passage of time.
I would say it started at birth. Some people say conception.
Controversial.
But I wouldn't really know,
What have you eaten recently?
There's been a snowstorm, in case you haven't heard.
So I've heard.
On the East Coast. And so everybody in the house was tired from shoveling.
Oh, did you shovel the driveway?
I sure
As a
did.
unit? Was it backbreaking work?
It was, call me Batman in the middle of the Dark Knight Rises, because my back's broken.
And the snow is Bane in this scenario?
Yeah. Sure.
I've never been to your house. Do you have a big driveway? A lot of property? What's going on?
Not much, not a huge driveway. I would say an average driveway. But anyways, because of all of this shoveling, we were all tired, and we were like, we don't want to cook anything. I mean, it's usually my mom that cooks stuff, but nobody wanted to make food, so we just heated up some food, and I had some chicken taquitos. I believe is how you say them.
It's nice that your family rallied together during these inclement weather conditions, and then you were able to celebrate and relish in some, excuse my French, chicken taquitos.
It is a heartwarming American story.
Yeah, it's a family domestic drama, On to the show!
Welcome back to Craft Services,
our show,
where we talk about the movies. Each week we talk about a film and hopefully have a crew member of that film to talk with us about their experience. Last week we had Adrian Alanis, digital compositor. He was fantastico. He was great. You should listen to that interview. And
we
now
love
we're
talking
here.
with him. What a swell man. It's nice. I could go on, but no,
I'm going to cut you off right there, Trent.
The interview speaks for itself.
I'm going to say that we should just continue on to our discussion now.
Let's look forward. That episode's the past.
Exactly.
What's done is done.
So, Trent, we are talking about David Fincher's Mank, yes?
Yes. His 11th film, most recent Netflix exclusive release.
Wow.
Do you want to hear some basic information about it?
Well, here's the thing I've been, dying to know about this film. When I watch movies, I'm like, this costs money to make, yes?
Definitely. It's not free.
Exactly. And I'm like, how much? So I'd like to see if you could answer that for me. How much money did Mank cost to make, Trent?
So, between $20 and $30 million, and the box office... taken into consideration the lack of a extensive theatrical run, it only made $100,000. But I was a contributing factor. I saw Mank in theaters.
Did you see it twice or no?
No, I saw it in theaters, was confused, left angry, came home, and then was protesting it for a week, and then I gave it another shot. Yeah. Parth, do you want to give a synopsis?
Well, Trent, I'm glad you asked. I had the IMDb synopsis right in front of me immediately after you asked me that.
Yep.
And we totally did not edit out a huge pause because
a big gap.
We are unprepared.
Wasn't on the document, no.
No, that didn't happen.
The log line of the movie
Right, I'll tell you now.
Yeah.
1930s Hollywood is reevaluated through the eyes of scathing social critic and alcoholic screenwriter Herman J. Mankiewicz as he races to finish the screenplay of Citizen Kane, 1941.
Citizen Kane's a movie. You watched it in preparation. I did not.
I did.
Did it pay off?
I think so. I'm glad I watched it. It's not like my favorite movie or anything, but I would recommend anybody watch it. It's not stuffy.
I saw Citizen Kane once, and it was on a date, and needless to say, I was unable to lend my full attention to the very weighty film, and I don't remember much of it at all.
Was something like taking your attention away from it, or I don't.
There was a brief intermission for some adolescent kissing, must I admit, but to Citizen Kane, no less.
Wow, even when you kiss, it's pretentious.
I haven't seen it since, and I think I would enjoy it now, having seen Mank a bunch of times, but I think that's kind of like reverse psychology.
Trent, I have a question for you. Do you know, again, these movies, they're so crazy. They cost money to make. They make money, hopefully.
Sure.
And that process, it has a history, a production history. Go.
Okay, so on Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score is 83%, and the audience score is 61%, so it's technically certified fresh. So Gary Oldman is 62, and he's playing Mank in his early 30s, which looking back is very funny, and Gary Oldman's take of him is very crotchety, and I know there's a car accident and that's what causes him to be handicapped, but he's played as an elderly person. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Well, I am wrong, or
No, you're not wrong. You're in fact correct. He is much older than the real life counterpart was at the time. But if you actually look at the counterpart of the time, Mank in real life looked much older than he was.
So this movie was based on a 120-page draft by Jack Fincher, David Fincher's father, and apparently it was based on an article by Pauline Kael, who wrote for The New Yorker, called Raising Cain, about how Orson Welles didn't give screenwriting credit to Herman Mankiewicz. And apparently, the story, the sequence of events in reality is in contention, because there's been a lot of debate as to what actually happened, because Peter Bogdanovich came back with an article called The Cain Mutiny in Esquire magazine, and people have been fighting about it ever since. More facts. Mank producer Eric Roth reportedly polished the script prior to filming, and I believe he was the only person who has touched it, because I think there's a level of purity that Lord Fincher is trying to preserve, since his dad wrote it, and
his dear dead father wrote it.
Yeah. So originally, his plan was to shoot this movie while his dad was still alive, immediately after the game, and the roles were going to be Kevin Spacey as Mank. Jodie Foster was also going to be in it. But apparently,
I'm going to assume as the Amanda Seyfried role.
Yeah. Apparently, there was some argument about it being in black and white, and that was a prerequisite for Fincher, and so he decided to delay the filming. So Fincher's normal cinematographer is Jeff Cronenweth, yeah?
Yes.
And he did Gone Girl, Social Network, Dragon Tattoo, and Fight Club was his first film. But for this movie, there's a different cinematographer.
Eric Messerschmidt.
Yes, and he was the gaffer on Gone Girl, and then he DP'd for an episode of Mindhunter, I think, and then this was a big step up to DP. Eric Roth, the producer I mentioned before, who touched up the script, he was the screenwriter of Benjamin Button, Forrest Gump, and Star is Born. So do you know how Social Network famously has a scene in the bar where there's 99 takes?
Oh, I sure do. It's the first scene in the film.
It's the first scene in the film. So apparently, on Mank, there were several shots that took over 100 takes, so it's like Fincher broke his own record.
Amanda Seyfried said that there was
200 takes.
Yeah.
Ew.
A scene was shot over a week.
Ouch. And apparently drunk Mank at the dinner party took over 100 takes. It was filmed on Red Digital and apparently was intentionally referential of Greg Toland. The soundtrack was, once again, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. It's, in my opinion, kind of unmiraculous compared, because, like, Gone Girl and Social Network, so good. And this score didn't really leave an impression, but it's an hour and a half worth of music. And the cool fact is that they're the first score ever to be composed where all of the orchestra members recorded from home and then sent in their pieces.
I'm assuming because of the pandemic.
Yeah, Parth, good assumption.
Yeah.
I think that's it. You want to go into the reviews?
Sure, Trent.
Ring one off.
As we know, we like to give 1-star reviews that we found of the film that we find a little funny. And our first one is by a man that was creatively named Guy Perry.
Who's to say that's not his birth name? But there is...
That's what I'm saying.
There is a photo in the bubble, and it looks like a stock photo if you looked up, like, white man. So...
This is true.
This could be a bot account.
Guy Perry, about a month ago, wrote, "Yawn. Tedious and self-involved. A big letdown. I went back and watched to the end. The film is sluggish and self-reverential, with Mank, a boring drunk whose witticisms deflate rather than inspire. A good-looking and empty film."
So Amazon is usually our source, and we read the reviews for people who bought the Blu-rays and the DVDs, but those don't exist in this case. So we're reading Rotten Tomatoes reviews. And next one is by a man named John Powers. He says, "I've liked director David Fincher's films in the past, but this seemed an incredibly indulgent and meaningless exercise in which Fincher shows off some skills as an auteur, but has been devoured, so to speak, by his own trenchant cynicism." So the reviews this week are a little bit more meaningful. Some real film critics we've got here.
And I think this is that sentiment of sort of a little bit more grown up. I think it's kind of like our craft services. I think we're maturing a little. And I think our next reviewer, Kevin Webb,
he really kept it real.
He kind of embodies that spirit with his review about a month ago where he said, "Mindhunter 3 was basically canceled because of this boring-ass film." And I think that just reveals so much, you know.
I don't watch Mindhunter. Do you?
I have seen both seasons.
Is it good?
It is excellent.
So, is Fincher the creator, or does he just direct some of the episodes?
Fincher is not the creator. It's based off of a book by a guy who worked in the FBI. It's about, like, the creation of the, like, serial killer, like, investigation stuff. Like, figuring out, like... It goes into, like, the psychosis of, like, serial killers and why they do what they do. Back in the 80s, when it wasn't...
So is it about a bunch of different serial killers, or just one?
It's not really about specific serial killers. It's not like a Seven or Zodiac type deal.
A diagnosis of people who kill people in general.
Yeah, it's set in the 80s before there was really any knowledge of, like, mental health and shit. So
yeah, mental health was invented by the government in the 1990s. Everyone knows
it's
that.
It's true. And Fincher did the first episode. I think he did a few more of season 1, and basically is the showrunner of the show. And he's the second season. I think he directed 6 of the episodes or something. So
Parth, did you know that Fincher has signed a 4-year exclusive deal with Netflix?
I sure do.
And it's hasn't been announced what his next plan is, but he said it would be based on the reception of Mank. So maybe the amount of Oscar nominations that receives will determine his next move.
Let's hope not.
We'll get into this later. Do you think Mank is going to qualify for many an Academy Award?
I think so. Probably, yeah.
I think it's Oscar baity.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hollywood likes movies about Hollywood, believe it or not. So, Parth, let's get into our film for the day.
Mank? David
Yeah.
Fincher's Mank? That's what we're
Sure.
talking about? Okay.
Initial impressions. You just watched it.
Yeah, I saw it a few days ago.
On
Very
your computer?
disappointed. No, I saw it on TV.
Did you watch it alongside anyone, or was this a solo venture? Speaking of
Well, if you must know.
solo.
Oh, yes, A Star Wars Story, the best Star Wars film, right?
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
Okay, good.
But were you alongside a certain comrade?
Yeah, well, okay, here's the deal. I was near my very good friend, Sophia Alexis, who we've had on the show.
Yeah,
Who
yes,
was
a
on...
friend of the show.
Who was on for another David Fincher film. Gone Girl.
Yes.
So-
Oh, wow, really all comes around.
It
Full
you know,
circle.
we're screenwriters, Trent.
So you
these
watched
are setups
it
and payoffs. But yeah,
Uh-huh.
I saw it.
3-act structure.
I saw it with Sophia on a TV in her
With
basement.
subtitles?
With subtitles.
And what did you think, and what did she think?
We both essentially had the same opinion.
Which was snooze alert?
Trent, will you let me speak, goddammit?
Go.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Don't cry.
Anyways, we both essentially had the same opinion, which was well made, but kind of a bad script. Kind of messy. Doesn't really have any sense of urgency, and the characters are not very well thought out. Which is really disappointing because that's kind of what Fincher is best at. I was just supremely disappointed. It's not like an awful film, but
I don't think Mank and the word awful should be used in the same sentence, but it just like in juxtaposition to the amount that we adore the rest of his filmography. Yes, my expectations were so large that I fell pretty hard too.
I was kind of interested to see. I mean, I guess I can just go into production design and
Sure.
direction and whatnot, because I think that's part of my problem with the movie, is that I don't think it 100% knows what it is. I think the script is very messy. Like I said before, it doesn't really have a clear sense of direction in terms of what it actually is about. There's a whole plot about socialism.
Yeah,
and the news.
Sinclair Lewis and the governor race in California, and the whole time you're like, oh, is this gonna get referenced again? And it just comes and goes. Well,
Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of not true, but in terms of
It's not like unimportant, but it also isn't like a significant driving factor in the overall story of writing Citizen Kane. Which is I would have been fine, to reference another Fincher movie, Social Network. Technically, that's a movie about the founding of Facebook, but it's not really about Facebook. It's more a story of the characters and, the betrayal and friendships and tragedy or whatever that ensued as a result of these two lawsuits. And so you can have a movie that's about something but not really like about that something. So like I don't really care that it's not so much about the making of Citizen Kane, but I'm not really sure what the movie is about other than that.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Like, The Social Network isn't even about like it is about the making of Facebook, but like there's so much other stuff on the periphery, and Mank like doesn't have anything interesting on the periphery. At the end of the day, you walk away and you're like, he wrote Citizen Kane, and then about the credit dispute. Yeah, I think outside of like the Orson Welles stuff, which I think is the best stuff, and the Marion Davies stuff, but I feel like who's Amanda Seyfried? She's great. And Gary Oldman's great too. The performances are really good. I just think the like you mentioned, the script is weak, and I think that not even that it's weak. Like there's so many like witticisms. It's very fast. It has a good tempo, and there are a lot of like words per minute. But Fincher was probably a little bit he didn't want to change it, probably.
My issue is that it just doesn't, I don't know, it's kind of baffling. I think it really is. I think maybe Fincher was too close to the material because his dad wrote it, I guess. And he said that like he originally didn't like his dad's original script because he said that he wasn't super interested in the dispute over credit.
What else is the movie about?
But then that's my thing is that it kind of is just like you kind of see Mank be drunk and an asshole. And then you see him write the movie, and then he wants credit, and then he gets it.
So, speaking of what you're saying, here's an excerpt from Wikipedia, and it says, David Fincher says that he felt early drafts were too anti-Wells. When asked about the controversy surrounding authorship, Fincher stated that his movie does not aim to settle the issue. It was not my interest to make a movie about a posthumous credit arbitration. I was interested in making a movie about a man who agreed not to take any credit and who then changed his mind. That was what was interesting to me.
I don't think that's interesting is my issue.
Thank you. It isn't like really said at the beginning that he, like, I guess in the 30s it was kind of understood that the screenwriting credit could be bought and sold like that. And like that's like it says a lot that that's how the system was. I don't think it's as much like that anymore. But if you sign a contract that says you're gonna give credit to the director and then you like violate that. I mean, Mank is like our protagonist, but in the eyes of, and legally he's in the wrong.
I just think that could maybe be interesting, except the movie doesn't really give us a reason why beyond him realizing that it's the best thing he's ever written. Beyond that, there's not really an emotional, you know, again, not to bring this up, but I feel like the movie closest to this weirdly is The Social Network.
I think that and Benjamin Button are the only other like quote
I think
dramas.
Benjamin Button is a lot more similar in terms of tone.
Yes.
But like I would say that like I think that my problem with it is that if you look at something like The Social Network, that's a movie where it's about two lawsuits, but both of them are very emotionally charged, and there's a very specific and like clear
reason.
Issue. Yeah. Whereas with this, again, it's very meandering. There's no clear sense of why he's doing the things he is. You know, there's a scene in the movie in which he bets $24,000 on a candidate winning. The candidate loses, and it's treated like it's going to be this huge thing. It's a whole sequence, where like his wife is like everybody's super tense. He loses, and his wife goes, "I have to throw up," and then that's all that's ever mentioned about it. Like it's not like a huge deal, and I feel like that happens throughout the movie a lot, where things happen to Mank, like Mank does stuff, but nothing really comes of it. There's no clear cause and effect in the script where like any of the actions of the characters really like matter in terms of movement of like the plot or whatever.
I think this movie like just has very little momentum, which is like, especially compared to David Fincher's other work. I think his like the
that's his like that's his like best thing is that he's really good at leading you through a plot.
Or that like I think he's good at making exciting openings.
Yeah.
Or at least in like his best movies. And this one, it starts slow and it kind of continues. In terms of other subplots that didn't go anywhere, do you know the director of the propaganda film who kills himself? And then he's never heard from again. Also, I don't know if the real Mank and William Randolph Hearst's wife in real life were like, I don't know, like
buddy
platonically engaged. So there's no romantic element between Mank and Amanda Seyfried, but also Mank is like very negligent to his own wife, and it doesn't. I don't know. I read a review that said this movie is arguing for Herman Mankiewicz to be important enough to
warrant his own movie.
To warrant his own movie, and that is the movie's greatest weakness.
Yeah, no, I kind of completely agree. It's also, the script is told out of order, I guess, in reference to how Citizen Kane is out of order, but I don't think it really works.
I like all the transitions. It like shows. It'll be like interior, like house, nighttime, and it does that because it's a movie about a screenwriter, so we're gonna show you this small sliver of the process, which I didn't mind, and it's a good way to like show you the year on the screen, so then you're not confused about the jumping around chronologically.
Yeah, I just think that it's not that I was ever really confused about the timelines. I just don't think it ever added anything to have it jump around in time beyond we see him when he's like kind of bedridden versus when he was walking and talking. It kind of jumps around haphazardly. There's not really any sense of rhythm.
Yeah, or like there's no purpose from scene to scene.
Yeah, like the final, like the climactic dialogue scene at the end, it cuts back and forth between these two scenes where there's a drunken Mank and there's, I think, Orson Welles and him are talking or something like that. And it is really weird. It kind of ruins the momentum of both scenes.
I think the only, like, what are the most memorable scenes from the movie? Like, him walking with Amanda Seyfried through the courtyard. That's, like, gotten a lot of press as being a long take. And then there's, like, the dinner party, him monologuing. And then, like, the very ending where it's, like, the Oscar acceptance speeches and they play the real clip from Orson Welles. I thought those were, like, my only real takeaways. And I wanted to compliment the opening text and, like, the end text, which, like, Fincher did that. Well, he did end text with Zodiac, too. But I think it works in this case.
To bring up Fincher, I guess, I also think, and I feel like this might be a little bit more controversial. I don't know how much the aesthetics of the film really improved it. I never got a sense. Fincher likes to shoot on digital because it allows him to shoot
more takes.
Shit ton of more takes,
and it's less expensive.
Not really.
Well, I just meant like if you do 100 takes on film, the film costs a lot more money than the data on the SD card.
Yeah, and then also in post, it provides him with a lot more options.
Has he ever shot on film?
Yeah, I mean, the first film to ever be shot on digital was Star Wars Episode 2.
Oh my.
Alien 3, 7, and The Game are all...
I can't believe Star Wars Attack of the Clones was the first digital film. Like,
yeah.
What a landmark for such a bad movie.
Yeah, but you gotta love George Lucas. The man takes big swings. But anyways, I think... So this movie was shot on digital, and I don't have a problem with digital generally, but here, where he's trying to make it, like, evoke the look and feel of Citizen Kane, it's too clean. And he tries to, like, put on, I think, like, film grain, and there's all sorts of, like, artifacts. Like, you can see the, like, on film where
like
they would, like...
Like the cigarette burns?
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom...
But they all feel artificial. They, like, feel artificial, and that's my issue, is that it's the audio is recorded... so that in, like, I think they recorded it in a movie theater so that it's had that more echoey sound that older movies at the time had. But the problem I have is it's shot in the aspect ratio of a modern movie, and everything's too clear. It's too crisp. And so then it kind of works backwards against it, I think.
My mom made a comment about the audio mix and about how even when they're outside, the dialogue sounds like they're inside. And I was like, that's a good catch. And because he tried to do, like, more old-timey, like, sound mixing, when your modern audience watches it, it's just going to sound off.
I agree with your mom. It kind of, I don't know, it's this weird thing where it does specific things, but it doesn't go all the way. I would be fine with it just being black and white and not trying to pretend like it is, because I think I saw somewhere that David Fincher wanted it to look like they were of the same time period.
Yeah, he was making a golden Hollywood 30s movie.
And he wanted to...
That's what he set out to do.
He also wanted to make it so that, like, if you had a two-parter of Citizen Kane and then Mank, it would make sense. But it kind of just doesn't. And I don't know if it's because I intellectually know that this was shot in real time, or if I really can tell that, like, it just looks too crisp. It just looks too clean. And all of the artifacts that he puts on in post look like they've been put on in post. And then it kind of makes me not buy it. It kind of, like, works against it, and it makes me annoyed.
So, the performances. What'd you think? There were actors in this movie. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. For once, Trent.
There's, Gary Oldman as the title Mank. There's Amanda Seyfried as Marion Davies. And then the only third actress name I recognized was Lily Collins, and she plays Mank's secretary. And it's funny that she's only coming up now, because I think that says a lot about her role in the movie, because it's meaningless. And there's a subplot about this secretary's husband who's off at war, and a lot of drama comes from letters she's receiving about how he's missing in action. But then, don't worry, at the end, it's mentioned he's okay. That part, and I wasn't into.
I agree, and I think, to answer your question, I mean, I think everybody's fine. Everybody acts well. I mean, I feel like I'm really harping on the movie. It's a very well-made movie. It's excellently shot. It's the editing is really good. The performances are all good. Yeah, but it's all in service of kind of nothing.
Yeah, the next conversation we're about to have is all the Oscars that this movie will likely be nominated for. So, do we want to get on to it?
Yeah, sure.
I'm anticipating, or at least these are the ones I consider possible: Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Screenplay. Posthumous nominations are
all the rage.
Yeah, exactly. Best Original Score, just because Trent Reznor
Atticus
and Atticus, that they kind of get nominated each time around. Film editing, I could see, and production design, I could see.
I'm gonna agree with all of those and just add costume design.
I was considering costume design also. And then
did you say cinematography?
I did not. And I didn't see this movie getting nominated for cinematography.
Really? I was going to say that I do. Because I think it, for all my problems with the choices they make, I think it's a well-shot movie.
So, do we want to get on to rating it?
I think so. I think it's our time.
And then afterwards, we'll be ranking all 10/11 of Fincher's films.
So, my rating for Mank, it's either a 4 or a 5 out of 10.
Well, you got to pick one. Or it can be a 4.5.
Yeah, I'll give it a 4.5 out of 10.
Ouch.
Yeah, no, I gave it a 2.5 out of 5 in Letterboxd because a 2 seemed a little low.
So that's the lowest ranking we've given out on the show yet. And this definitely isn't the worst movie that we've talked about. But I think it's the expectation versus reality.
I just don't, I don't see myself watching this ever again. I don't ever want to, really. I was just so bored the entire way through.
I'm going to give it a 6.
That's fair.
I've liked it more each time I've watched it, and you've only watched it once, so I think that could have something to do with it.
So we both have our lists, and we're going to go as we did with our most anticipated and stuff. We're going to each give our number 10, then our number 9, then our number 8.
So are we not counting Alien 3 just for the sake of consistency? So
yeah, I haven't
this a
seen
top
Alien
10?
3.
I haven't seen Alien 3. I have no intention to. It's barely David Fincher's film. So, for the sake of consistency, let's go. Number 10.
Should I go first?
Please.
At number 10, we have today's feature film, Mank.
Wow. I think saying that this is his worst movie to date is kind of a stretch.
None of his other movies have, like, bored me the same way, and I don't think any of them have the same, like genuine, like, structural issues.
I'm actually doing some swapping on my list as we speak.
Last minute swapping.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So my number 10 is going to be Panic Room, because I think it is the least interesting premise that he has ever pursued.
Really?
Listen to all that alliteration.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk more. What's your number 9?
Why don't you do your number 9? Why don't we alternate?
Sure. It's like a snake. Well, let me say more about Panic Room. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It just didn't do anything for me. But you liked it a lot more than I did. But I'm sure. Okay, number 9, I put The Game.
Twins!
Nice. So I didn't necessarily... I liked this about as much as I liked Panic Room, and the differentiation was that I thought that The Game had more of an interesting plot. Or, like, that the third act of The Game is what it's all about, and Panic Room doesn't have a twist, so to speak. Like, yeah. So what's your number 8 then? Or
yeah, I mean, just to speak for a little bit about The Game, I think it's well made, and the third act actually kind of ruins it for me.
Wow, that's
yeah. I mean, I don't want to give anything away. I just think that it's a little too cute, and I don't think David Fincher was the right person to direct the movie. I think you needed somebody with a much lighter touch.
Who's the lead in The Game? What's his name?
Michael Douglas.
Yeah, I'm not a big Michael Douglas guy.
I like him. I think he does well in the movie. I just think that it's too dark of a movie, or too serious of a movie, for what its premise ends up actually being.
I like Sean Penn in the movie.
As do I.
I was reading a Fincher ranking list because I wanted to see what the understood standing was. And this person put The Game at, like, number 3. And they were like, The Game is a huge joke, and if you don't get it, and then you're going to think it's terrible. If you get the joke that is The Game, and then it's some of David Fincher's finest work. So I guess we're standing on the outside.
We didn't get it.
Number 8.
Okay, so my number 8. Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Yes, me also.
Oh my god.
Yes. Nice. Good stuff.
I think it's well made. I think I really, really liked it when I first saw it, and now I kind of am like whatever about it. Really well made, really good performances. It's kind of sweet. Fine.
So, I rewatched Benjamin Button the other day. And do you know how it's told, like, from the perspective of the woman in the hospital as Hurricane Katrina is coming to, like, clap their cheeks?
Good words.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of weak, and that's kind of like the Titanic, where you're just like, snooze, old lady talking, we get it, you were once the young female.
You were once Kate Winslet.
No, or Cate Blanchett in this case. Cate Blanchett, I'm divided on, but in this movie I liked her. Brad Pitt is great. Did you know my dad has met Brad Pitt?
OMG. Was he? How was it?
He shook his hand.
Oh my gosh, you're famous.
I was there, but we were. I mean, I won't get into it, but yeah, that's my dad's claim to fame. Yeah, Brad Pitt was great. So what I wanted to say about Benjamin Button is that no movie can have a character that ages backwards anymore. Like, Benjamin Button has reserved that. And whenever there's any mention of someone aging backwards, Benjamin Button is the first thing on people's minds. So it's really left a cultural impact just in terms of, like, conceptually. And so for that reason, I think it's somewhat important. Even though, like, it's kind of patented, like, a narrative device in the same way that every time travel movie is going to be referential of Back to the Future. Or is going to be ripping something off from Back to the Future. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
Number 7.
That's you, right?
Oh, my number 7, this was due to a last-minute switch, but 7 is Mank.
Okay.
No need for further comment.
This is interesting. My number 7 is Panic Room. So we swapped those.
So what did it for you in Panic Room?
I think it's a really smart script. I think my problem with, like, the game and Mank is that it has kind of a identity crisis of, like, not knowing exactly what story it's trying to tell. And so then that becomes a problem with, like, tone and character. And Panic Room is pretty simple, but it knows it's simple, and it just does it really effectively. I just think it's really well made, and it's a solid, like, suspense thriller film. My only issue with it is that this is kind of the last Fincher movie to use really, like, elaborate CG shots, where, like, it's really stylistically done, because he kind of gets a little bit more omniscient after this, and I think those shots don't really work in this movie, for me. But other than that, like, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's not the deepest of his movies, but I think that's kind of why it works for me.
I have to admit, I fell asleep and missed the middle hour of Panic Room, so by the time I woke up, I think Jared Leto was dead, and someone's arm was trapped in the door, and there was a panic room. So I didn't take that much away from the movie. I think I got the first and last 20 minutes.
You're missing out on a lot of good suspense, Trent.
So my number 6.
Trent, I have to say number 6, actually.
Parth's number 6.
Wow. You're just trying to take away my spotlight, aren't you? My number 6 is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Mine also. So I think the crime element in this movie is weak. Like, the investigation feels pretty far away from... But I don't know. This movie is... You got Daniel Craig. He's, like, a detective. And then you got Rooney Mara. And then you have their separate storylines. And then halfway through, they converge. But the whole movie is based around Daniel Craig solving this, like, old murder case, and that just feels like what the movie isn't about. And I think David Fincher, who's an expert at crime, doesn't do this crime novel justice.
I think I probably think a little bit more of it than you do, but I agree it's not the most compelling of his movies. But I think it's really, really excellently made.
Yeah,
like just like perfect on it. I mean, most you'd be really hard pressed to find a technical issue with a David Fincher movie, but I just think that, like, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is kind of like a trashy book, like, not in a like it's a bad book, but just like it's not really a serious book. It's kind of like a page turner whatever book. And I think there's a great movie in here, but instead the movie is just a really, really, like, greatly made good movie.
I think another problem with Dragon Tattoo is that it like loosely incorporates too many aspects of the book without thoroughly delving into them. Like,
I agree.
at the beginning, you find out that Daniel Craig's character like gets in some legal trouble because of some libel, and that's like a driving force throughout the movie, and you don't even really know what it's about. I don't know. I think the performances are good. I just think it's a little bit diluted, even though it's one of his longer movies. Perhaps I think it's nearing 3 hours. But
Yeah,
I think
it's 2.5 hours, I think.
Benjamin Button's his longest.
Okay, Trent, your number 5.
My number 5 is Gone Girl.
My number 5 is Gone Girl. Trent.
So we had a whole episode on this,
Wow.
in which both of us, partly for political reasons, kind of refrained from giving just affection towards Gone Girl. But we both really like this movie.
Well, I'm glad you spoke for me, Trent. I have a complicated relationship with the film. In terms of the writing, it's really excellently like crafted, in terms of its twists and its turns and everything.
I think that's compliments to Gillian Flynn.
Yeah. But I think there's a legitimate case to be made about how certain messaging is harmful. And I can't really look past that once it's been pointed out to me. Because it's just kind of uncomfortable to watch. At the same time, I also don't want to overlook that it brings up a lot of interesting issues with, like, male and female relationships and, you know, things like that were never really explored in such a way. I mean, the cool girl monologue is the biggest example of that, where, like, people took that and ran with it. But, like, I think it's a very interesting film to dissect, and it's a very interesting film to look at it as a piece of, like, pop culture.
I absolutely adore, one of my guilty pleasures is the Gone Girl director's commentary. David Fincher talking about Ben Affleck refusing to wear a Yankees cap and having to take off several days of shooting for them to discuss the issue. It's very funny. It's one of his less tight movies, but I like it so much. All right, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is going to be Fight Club.
Mine also.
Oh my god.
Yes.
I swear to God, we did not make this list together.
We're peas in a pod, Parth. Yeah.
Other than Mank and Panic Room, everything has been in the same place. And I have a feeling the rest will be too, based on my knowledge of your taste.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
anyways.
I believe that to be true also. Fight Club. The screenplays of David Fincher's different films. They've come from a variety of sources. Dragon Tattoo and Gone Girl and Fight Club and Social Network partly and partly Zodiac are based on books. And Zodiac, Social Network, and Mank are the only true stories, and then I guess the rest of them are, you know, just good old works of fiction. But do you want to see the graph I was referring to?
Sure.
So I put his films in chronological order on a Cartesian plane, and then I went from left to right and charted, like, chronologically, like, where it falls on the ranking over time. And it's crazy how most of the time it goes... Well, I mean, let's just go through. There's Alien 3, and then there's 7, and then there's Panic Room the Game. Oh, no, I missed Fight Club in 1999. And then you got Panic Room. Then Zodiac, Benjamin Button, Social Network, Gone Girl, Mank. And the crazy part is that it pretty much alternates going from very high on the list to very low on the list. That's the graph. I mean,
Interesting.
no visual component, but thought I should put into words. But as we were saying about Fight Club, it's written by a very good book by Chuck Palahniuk. I think this movie, in the same way that Gone Girl can have a bad take-home message, but it's all about how you read it, and I think Edward Norton's great, Brad Pitt's great, Helena Bonham Carter's great. It's a good story, and in the same cultural impact way as Benjamin Button, the first rule of Fight Club is don't talk about Fight Club, and also it's
as is the second rule.
Yes, and it's in the lineup of 1999. Perhaps the best movie year ever, and I think it's awesome, and it's a super easy watch.
I agree. I really, really like Fight Club. I think it's a perfect matching of material and director. For some reason, it was read horribly wrong by lots of guys, but
for people who I idolized,
to the people that really like Tyler Durden,
yeah,
you're bad people, and the movie is laughing at you.
Indeed.
But anyways, enough about Fight Club. Trent. Oh, and I just want to say, for me, from Fight Club onwards, all of the movies are 5 out of 5s for me. Or 10 out of 10s for me.
I would even give...
Oh, no. I know what you're going to say.
Well, I was going to say I would even give Fight Club a 10 out of 10.
Oh, no, that's what I meant. I would give all of the movies on this.
What were you fearing me saying? Giving Gone Girl?
Yeah, you're going to give that a 10.
No. That's a stretch. All right, what's your number 3?
Your number 3 first.
7.
So is mine.
Okay. I read a review the other day that I didn't necessarily agree with, saying that 7 is only memorable because of the third act, and I disagree with that.
Hardly.
Because the third act only works because of all the build-up.
The preceding two acts.
And being able to, watch... I mean, there's going to be 7 killings, and you get to watch the first... spoiler alert. You get to watch the first 5 play out, and then you're like, well, there's going to be 2 more. And then the third act culminates, and it's awesome. Too bad Kevin Spacey loves touching boys, because he was a good actor.
This used to be my number 1 for a while. It's changed, but that's not a knock on the movie. It's a perfect film. I love it.
What's your favorite of the killings? Minus the
the ending, I guess.
Well, minus the stuff at the end.
Are
you a fat guy spaghetti? Are you a are you a knife penis? Or
no, I'm gonna go with Sloth.
Is that the
guy that's chained to the bed?
Yeah, he's still alive.
Yeah.
Wait, what are the other? Oh, then there's the lawyer who's Greed, I think.
Yeah.
Who's the? The model.
Yeah.
It cuts off her nose, spider face. Okay.
So my number 2. Yes.
Yes.
Or your number 2.
My number 2 is Social Network.
Oh no, we ruined it.
So this is the final swap. Oh, so
yeah.
I thought you knew how affectionate of Zodiac I was. So I thought that was your inkling of your knowledge. No,
I knew, but I didn't know you would overtake it.
For what it's worth, my DVD copy of Social Network from Blockbuster with the cast and commentary directory. It's like director and cast commentary is like one of my prized possessions. So I love this movie. I love that it's on Netflix. I watch it once every 2 weeks. It's probably up on the list for my most rewatches, somewhere in the ballpark 30 times.
Why don't you talk about Zodiac 2 now that we know that it's just flip-flop for me?
Zodiac, it's probably my favorite movie right now. So
wow, of all time.
I think so. I watch it like once a week. Jake Gyllenhaal is also like my favorite actor, so that has something to do with it.
Yeah, I have Zodiac for number 2 and Social Network for number 1.
It's nice that we have variety, you know?
Yeah.
If the
yeah.
co-hosts,
However minute.
If the co-hosts are too similar, we're going to lose our audience. We're diversifying our assets here.
I think, I don't know if it's because it's too personal to me, but I just have to have Social Network at number 1.
Because you invented Facebook?
Yes, yeah. But I think, for me, what it is I think David Fincher is frustrating to me because he is one of the best directors working ever. But I think he chooses lots of scripts that are not at his level.
Like, which scripts do you think aren't at his level?
The Game, Mank. Let me go through his filmography. The Game, Mank, Benjamin Button, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, honestly, even Panic Room are not at his level.
Yeah.
I think Gone Girl is also not at his level. I think Gone Girl is like fun, but I think David Fincher elevates an okay script. I think he's so good. And I think what Zodiac and Social Network both do is assign a script that's as methodical and meticulous as he is. And it gives him, it kind of pushes him too. And I think for me, Social Network is the slightly better script for me, because Sorkin's my favorite writer.
Yeah, and also Social Network is aging like a fine wine compared to Zodiac, in which there's been no... I mean, there actually has been an update in the Zodiac case. The other day, I read an article that one of the ciphers had just been broken for the first time.
Yeah.
You saw that?
Yeah, I did.
And of all of the ciphers that were sent, only 3 of them have been solved. One by a married couple, one by Robert Graysmith, who's Jake Gyllenhaal, and also wrote the Zodiac book, which the movie's based on, and was like involved in the creation. And then this new one, which some like cryptologists of the world solved.
I just think they're so like intricately made, you know, like written. They're just so good on the writing level.
To me, it feels like on those two, it was like the quintessence of Fincher being in complete and total control.
Yeah.
And especially like in terms of takes, like Social Network and Zodiac is where you hear most of like the war stories of like the thoroughness of the filming process. And Zodiac, I think, was his longest shooting schedule. I think it was like over 100 days.
I would buy that.
Unless Benjamin Button was more. But I feel like that was a lot of CGI. But who knows?
Yeah, and I think the only thing I want to add is I think the only reason Social Network is above it for me is because it's Fincher not doing crime. And it's that good. And I think that's where like Fincher is kind of like reaching out beyond his comfort zone. And then after that, he immediately stepped right back in with Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and I think that's a step backwards for him. But yeah, I just think that...
but Social Network, like, moves like a crime movie, though. Like, I know it's...
No, it does. I just mean, like, this it's not... It doesn't have the subject matter to fall back on.
Yeah.
Because, like, Gone Girl, Dragon Tattoo...
It also doesn't have the inherent entertainment value coming out of people getting murdered.
Exactly, and there's not this inherent visual component to it. It is mostly people talking in boardrooms.
So,
and it makes it very interesting.
I hear your argument for Social Network over Zodiac in terms of like originality. Like, I know it's like based on a true story, but there are much less movies about, like, tech mogul startups and the legal conflicts that ensue than there are about serial killers. And I think that Zodiac is, like, the best newspaper movie and the best serial killer movie. But Social Network is kind of in its own league.
Category.
Yeah. And, I mean, Quentin Tarantino thinks it's the best movie of the 2010s. And...
who am I to fight with Quentin Tarantino.
Exactly. So I think that's that.
That's that.
Indeed. Our next episode is what, with who, and why?
Well, Trent, it's Doug Lyman's Lockdown. We had its unit production manager, Ella Dane Smith, come talk with us. She was great.
What a good, wonderful interview.
It was. So join us
next week
on
our show, Craft
Services,
the podcast, our show.